Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Scottish Property Podcast. My name's Stephen Clark and I'm here with my co-host as always, Nick Ponte.
How you doing, Stephen? This is good actually. We're here in the flesh for a change.
Yep, we're here in the Dakota Eurocentral next to Motherwell. So how's your week been, Nick?
Not bad, Stephen. It's been up and down as usual in property. This week I have had a bit of a nightmare situation. Obviously, I'm a letting agent and I deal with tenants and landlords and things as my kind of day-to-day. And this week I had a tenant who pulled out of a tenancy at the last minute. So they were due to move into property on the Saturday, and I got an email on the Friday to say, nope, they will no longer be moving in. They've had a change of circumstances. They're moving to Edinburgh instead. This property had been on the market for about 2 months over Christmas and New Year. And obviously landlord's pissed off, I'm pissed off, there's no money coming in for anybody. Luckily the silver lining is that we managed to get it straight back on the market and rented within a couple of days. So we've got a tenant moving in there this weekend, so not too bad. What about yourself?
Good. How did you mitigate that then, or going forward? Would you take a deposit up front to secure?
We did. We took a holding deposit, but in Scotland the law is if you take any deposit prior to a move-in with the tenancy and it falls through and they ask for the deposit back, then you are duty bound to refund the full deposit. You can't keep any deposit money.
So another benefit for the tenant and against the landlord.
Yep, it's all in the tenant's favour, unfortunately.
I've had a fairly up and down week as well. I managed to offer on the large portfolio that was often up in Aberdeen on Friday, so I've not heard back yet. So hopefully hear back in the next kind of couple of days. And having a couple of issues with a lending product for 4 flats in Aberdeen, so it's just trying to get over the hurdles that they're putting in our place. But it's been quite a good week.
There's always challenges, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Exactly. So this week we're going to talk about our power team, and I know we both don't like this term power team, but I don't know quite how to
go Power Rangers.
I don't know how to
the team
label it. It's basically the team around you that help you in your business. So whether it be your solicitors, accountants, estate agents, letting agents, builder, architect, all these type of people, the people you've got around you, they help you do your business. That's what we really want to discuss today. So let's start with, what's your favourite person in your power team and why do you think they're so important?
Ooh, right, okay, I was having a good think about this, and I think out of all the people, so you've got your solicitor, accountant, builders, letting agent, estate agents, sourcers, all these things, and I was thinking to myself, what is the one person that I could not do without, that's crucial to my team and vital to being a successful property investor? And I think my solicitor is probably the number one, because it's really important to have somebody who knows exactly what you're trying to achieve, and somebody who's reactive. And obviously with a solicitor you cannot do the conveyancing yourself. That is a professional that you need to employ. So all the other things, like you could possibly do your own tax return, you can source your own deals, you can self-manage, you don't necessarily need a letting agent, but the solicitor is the one thing that you must have. So it's important to get it right, and it took me a long time to get a good solicitor. I mean, I went through probably 2 or 3 previous to the one I've got now, and I've now feel that I can pick up the phone to her at any point. Sometimes the kind of deals that we're doing are a bit more complicated, a bit more complex. You're buying at auction, you're buying properties that have been, not lived in for a long time. There might be issues, so you need to know that they've basically got all that covered, and you can have a conversation with them, and they know what you're trying to achieve.
I would completely agree with that. That's probably my one as well, that you just couldn't do without a solicitor. And I think we're going to probably touch on this on each one mentioned, but you mentioned it there about picking up the phone to your solicitor. I feel that that's the most important thing on all these people around you. It's the relationships you develop with them, not necessarily a transactional relationship. They've got to appreciate your business and want to support you in your growth, and vice versa. And I think when you build up that personal kind of relationship, I think when these are when it helps your business grow. And you did touch on there as well about your solicitor being involved in the kind of bespoke dealings that we do. Sometimes it's not quite as straightforward, simple.
Well, you were talking about buying a portfolio there, so it's something that if you go online and type in, property solicitor, and it throws up maybe one of these companies that will do your conveyancing for, I don't know, 500
Yeah.
quid or something like that. But there's no chance they're going to know what the hell to do with a portfolio.
Yeah, especially the conditions we managed to put in. I mean, my solicitor, I was the same with you. Went through a few over the time. I've had one for the last 3 years that it started on basically on a kind of transactional. Let's get a good deal. Let's go forward. But as the deals went through, bought and sold a lot through him, we've developed quite a good relationship. And I know I just text him in the mornings. I know he's commuting in his bus to Edinburgh.
That's a good relationship.
So he's a good relationship. I know that. I don't need to bother him. I don't need to pick up the phone and go through his secretary, drop him a message. He'll get back to it during the day, and he'll ping me an email or whatever. So
you're getting direct to
the person. Yeah. And that's I think that's key. I mean, you know what yourself. If you're having to act fast on a property deal, your offer has to go in quickly. You can't be waiting on someone getting back to you, going through a solicitor, them leaving a note for them, and then returning your call at 5 o'clock before they go out the door, and then doing it the next day. You need to be the priority. So I've had a couple of bespoke dealings with my solicitor that you know, people have came to me before with you know, like an assisted sale type thing. So people are getting repossessed and they're just wanting the mortgage paid off. They don't care about what they're getting from the profit. They just want away from this mess. And you know, I've taken these sellers into my solicitor and introduced them to them. But I mean, here's the position. Can you find out what they owe on their mortgage? Can you get some security against it? They're not going to repossess it. We'll take over the payments of it. We'll carry out the refurb on the property, and then we'll sell it. These are not bespoke buying and selling, you know, deals. These are something that they've got to go and form a, you know, different agreements, different, you know, structures.
And if you're getting a lot of friction from your solicitor, if you're trying to do deals like that, you know, the one that I had before, it was almost like she was trying to put barriers up at every hurdle rather than give me solutions to it. She was saying, no, this looks a bit dodgy, I don't think you should go for it. And I'm like, as a property investor, you do want to take an element of risk as well. Yeah. And you're like, just make this, there must be a way of making this happen.
Exactly. Yeah, you want someone, I think, and throughout your power team to find the solutions to a problem, not this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem. It's like, you know, your builder can't keep picking up the phone every time they come across something that's a problem. They want to just keep finding a solution, and it's no different from a solicitor. Yeah, I completely agree.
And just a word of warning, if you do get a solicitor and they insist on doing everything by letter and fax, then I would stay well clear, because the day and age that we're living in at the moment, it should be emails.
Do you know what? It's 99% of them to a certain extent, and even when you do go through emails or telephone calls, they still end up sending you a letter, kind of going over the terms of what they've discussed. It's like, come on, we've been through this umpteen times. But yeah, you're 100% right.
Okay, so that is the solicitor covered, but a really important part of my team. What about you, Stephen? Who would you say is critical in your...
I think my one, the last couple of years, has probably been my accountant. I've been through the good, the bad and the ugly. The first one I used, I thought that, you know, I want to try and grow. I mean, probably take it back a little step here. For the last 3 years since Clause 24 came in, where you're not allowed to claim back your mortgage relief payments, it's kind of forced a lot of investors to go down the limited company route. And so I set up limited companies to do joint ventures, to do flips, to do... And another point as well is you often can't do different trading activities inside different companies, so you can't hold properties inside the one company and then flip properties on it, and other things as well, as like maybe bespoke developments or my commercial residential development. These will be set up in like an SPV, special purpose vehicle, where it's basically a limited company set up for that sole purpose of that development. When it's done, profits out, collapse the company.
So I think the key here is that obviously, you know, things have changed, and it's important to have an accountant who's up to date with all the different ways that it can be done now.
Completely, and it was something that I found myself the last kind of few years quite lost in it, because I didn't have a limited company. I was always employed, and when I quit my job a few years ago, I thought, yeah, it's cool, I still submit a self-assessment through my property income, that's fine, but obviously adding all these elements to limited companies in it, the different VAT implications, commercial or residential is VATed differently to new build developments. Residential, you can't claim VAT back on stuff, so to have that person in my power team that's been helping me through it, she's phenomenal. I've got her on board now, but I've went through quite a lot of pain points with accounts in the past. The first year of our managed accounts for our company on our flips, we got quoted at $3,000 to produce a set of accounts, and when the books were all produced and the accounts were already submitted, we were invoiced over £8,000. So this was you know, you don't get someone in to fit a bathroom in your house and then give them a quote for $3,000 and then come back at 8. We come across a few other issues and this, that, and the next thing.
So I've always been told that getting a good accountant will save you money in the long term as well, but that sounds like
Aye, it was painful. Yeah.
Painful. So like I think that's a good thing as well to mention is that although you will be paying for these people and you need to pay good money to get a good one, obviously you're hoping that in the long term it's going to save you time, it's going to save you money as well, because they're going to find everything that you can claim for on your expenses, and hopefully that's going to save you money in the long term.
Yeah, completely. The accountant I've got in the ground, she's brilliant. She's educating me daily on it. She's just done my self-assessment and my books for one of my companies.
I might need to speak to her because I'm still struggling with the accounting side. So this is good things where we can share. Yeah. And if anybody's looking for any recommendations, then I'm sure we can put you in touch with people as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I'm based in Fife, Nick's based in Glasgow, but we don't necessarily need to have, these people don't necessarily need to be based on our doorstep. We've all got emails, we can pick up the phone, we can, so we don't need to have the person on the high street we go nip up and see, or accountant or mortgage broker or solicitor. This is some stuff that can be done quite remotely as well. So yeah, if people are needing referrals, I'm sure they can contact either of us for.
And what's the phrase you hear all the time? Your network is your net worth.
It's cheesy, mate, but there's not a truer word spoken when you start going into business.
So the words, the phrases that we said we promised we wouldn't mention, like power team and your network is your net worth.
We're just doing it.
We're just doing it anyway because we don't want to be gurus, but it is true. Like it is true. Anyway, so so the accountant obviously with the buy-to-let changes and that with the section 24, crucial at the moment, because that's one of the biggest questions that a lot of people come to me when they're starting out in property investing. Should I invest in a limited company or personal name? And
I've noticed that question, and we've put that on the Facebook group page. We've put 3 questions against it. I think it was just 3 basic questions to get people to answer to join the group, and a lot of the questions at the bottom were what do you want out of the group and the podcast, any subjects you want covered, and that's been quite a common one is limited company versus personal name. So yes, it's something we've got experience in, but we'll probably end up bringing in a guest to go over that in more detail because we're not accountants and we're not really qualified to give that advice, even though we're doing it.
Absolutely. So right, okay, so you've got that. You feel like you've got that basis covered, and you feel like you've got a good professional to work with there. Obviously, we've got a number of areas that we think that we've not got covered quite so well. So where do you think that you're lacking?
I would say for me is a builder. You know yourself when you do refurbs, if you're very hands on the refurb. I mean, I'm still a sucker for getting a sledgehammer out and ripping it out. I love it. I can't deny it.
You've got to do the fun stuff.
I can't deny it. And you know what? I mean, I think we're going to go over a podcast on renovations and stuff like that. But I love getting a skip there and ripping it out for a day or two. It's great fun. Nice stress reliever. But it is so important. And I actually got started a refurb yesterday, and I got a labourer in. And you shite bag.
I got a labourer in, and I'm paying him £60 a day, and it's just stripping wallpaper. But there was a really fun task that I wanted to do, and I had to go away to Tool Station to get a bucket and a sponge for him to strip the wallpaper. I said I'll be right back in half an hour, and I had my eye on this. It's like a brick fire surrounds. And I took the sledgehammer, and I didn't say to him to leave it, but I had my eye on it. I thought, I'll get that when I come back.
That's all mine.
And that's got my name on it. And I came back in the door after being at Tool Station, and what's the first thing he tackled himself while I was out? He sledgehammered the brick wall, man. And I was like,
cheated you.
I was like, oh, you've done the fun bit. Basically, I wanted to get a picture from Instagram, one of those boomerangs.
I love this knocking walls down, like that collapse and putting it on Instagram, yeah.
But obviously you don't want to be, if you're trying to find more deals and all that, you don't want to be tied up managing trades, micromanaging. And
that's how I've managed to do it. And you'll hear people that will say, yeah, you just get a builder and they'll do it. But the truth and reality is that builders have got their markups on materials, they've got their markups on all the individual guys they're putting on, plus their markup for themselves as well. So if you're doing a flip or a renovation, I mean, we're on a tight budget to make money with all these fees that we're getting hit with. If there's not as much money in it, the builders will make more money than we will out of this property. So we need to make sure that the numbers are tight. And I've always found that having the experience in renovations and being a developer for so long, I can price the renovations so well myself that when I get a price for a builder and I try and outsource that part and get that person in my team, their price always comes back, hugely greater than what I budgeted for, and then the deal doesn't work at that, and you couldn't get the price much cheaper, so the numbers don't work. So you end up self-managing it, you end up kind of organising the materials yourself and then trying to manage each individual trade yourself. But the downsides of that, which drag you into it, is if you've got a sparky in place or a plumber in place or a joiner in place, no one's taking responsibility for the whole site. So
Yeah.
you're having to go back every fucking couple of days and clean up, like basically sweep the place for 2 hours and clean the place down, organise all this shit, and it's like, Jesus Christ, can no one clean up? But then no one's responsible for cleaning up. You're the project manager. You've taken on that role. So
Yeah.
yes, if I could find someone,
It's something that I really struggle with as well, and I've tried it as well. Because you hear all the time, like your time is your most valuable asset, right? So that's the last thing you want to be doing, is going around and cleaning up building sites and all that. And I've tried as well to get the builder in and get the prices, and they come back with the prices, and because you know
you know what you can do it for,
what you can do it for, and what trades are doing it for. I struggle as well, because I'm like, oh my God, like that's huge margin that they're making.
Let's talk about numbers on it, just to give people a little indication. Like, we're not being fucking skinflints here and skimping on a few hundred quid. I think that if I was quoted, let's just say a 1 or 2 bed flat refurb or something, you'd be looking at 12 grand to do a refurb on the whole thing. Builders will come back at 20 or 22 grand for it. That's what I'm finding. So you're not talking about a grand or 2 grand that you might just go, do you know what,
for your refinance and getting your money back.
That's fucking 8-10 grand. That's a big margin. So and it's not like they're paying the guys much more than you're paying them. They probably aren't. They're probably getting them cheaper because they're employing them. So I don't understand why they need to make such a huge margin on it and market it. But I think that people get that misconception of people in property, and they look at they don't understand property. A lot of the builders or tradesmen, they'll look at you. Oh, Nick's just buying a 60 grand flat, and he's spending 15 grand on it. He must have 75 grand on his hipper. No, we're leveraging mortgages. The money's tight, the numbers are tight, the margins are tight. We need to make it work for us. But they think, oh yeah, money bags Nick there, we'll just go and chuck him a price of 20 grand. It's like, it doesn't work. But I never understood it. Yes, to go back to that, being the person I would like to develop most into my team would be a good builder that I could take around all the refurbs, all the developments. Just, they understand my spec, they understand the style I want, they understand if it's a buy to let a refurb, it's more a basic. They understand if it's a flip, it's a little bit more a bit better standard and stuff like that. That would be the one I would put in. So Nick, let me put this back to you then. What do you think is missing from your team that you would love to have?
So I would love to have somebody bringing me a constant flow of deals. Like, that would just be the dream. Because obviously, that is where you make your money. You make your money at the buying stage, don't you? So I just think if there was somebody out there who could get all these kind of like off-market deals and bring them to me. I mean, I've got people who are wanting to invest through me who, I've got the cash sitting there and they're ready to go. But it's just about, it's time to go out and do the viewings. It's a big killer. And it's about negotiation as well. I'm not a great negotiator, to be fair. I don't know about you. Are you?
No, it's probably usually quite a hard ball, or probably why I lose a lot of deals as well. But yeah, it's a skill that I've got better at, I think. But yeah, I completely agree with you.
I'm too worried to go in too low in case, like, estate agents and people like that, just like, this guy's just a total time waster. I'm not going to pick up the phone to him.
I think because I've coming from a kind of an experience point of view, the ones that I do it locally to me, they know I'm going to come in lowball. Right. So they either don't waste my time and say there's no point in you coming to see this because they're not going to accept an offer low, so they won't waste my time. But in Aberdeen, I'm just being a lowballer because I know that the market demands it, or I can get away with it in the marketplace. But yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. The deal flow is probably one of the most important things in property, and something I stumbled across actually, even just recently in the last few weeks. People know I've been involved up in Aberdeen, and people have been asking me for deals in Aberdeen, and obviously my main focus is my own, to try and purchase portfolios and multiple purchases, but I am coming across the individual unit and stuff that I'm joint venturing with different people on. So a deal flow is hugely. But I've got a question for you. You're an experienced investor. Who are the people that you've had sourcing your deals before in the past, or that you've spoke to? Are they experienced in deal sourcing, or they just came off a course? Or
I've had a couple. I had one who one of the best ones, or one of the really good ones that worked out for me was actually an owner of one of the auction companies, and he had an off-market deal. I think he's a trader as well, and he was like, Jesus, buying them, making a quick 10 grand, passing them on. So he did gone out and agreed the sale. And paid cash for it, one of these like quick sale buy cash sort of thing, and then he just punted it onto me, and I think he probably made about 10 grand in it, but there was still that huge margin. So that worked really well. But then I kind of felt a bit guilty because I heard about when I actually picked up the keys for this property, the neighbour told me the backstory, and it was like, the mother died and the two sons were alcoholics, and that they were just quite vulnerable people, and basically they just accepted this quick cash offer. And then I thought, oh my God, there's morals and ethics involved in that, but they are getting themselves out of situation as well, and it's a solution for them. I guess there's two arguments to the thing.
Yeah, there is. He seems like a good deal sourcer for you, actually.
So I thought, I've found somebody here who's going to send me deals, and I've came back to him after that one and says, look, I've got more cash here, but nothing ever came through again.
Right.
I think he was just busy with other things, and then I think he changed his business model slightly.
Right.
And then another guy who was sourcing stuff off Rightmove that I paid £1,000 for a source deal, which was just a property on Rightmove that had a reduced price that he went in and negotiated quite a bit off. Paid £1,000 for that, and I was happy to do so, even though it was on Rightmove.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I used to be quite negative towards that, thinking like, how can you source a deal if it's on the market? But there's a skill set involved in scouring through it, recognising what a deal is, and then, like you say, going down the viewings, carrying out all the due diligence, and then further negotiating and using good negotiation skills to get it down. So if someone's put that work in, yeah, I'm the same. I wouldn't mind paying for it as well. The thing that I find the hardest with deal sourcers is I'm not going to categorise them all in the same boat, but a lot of them have just came off a course where they've learned how to find properties and source it on, and I kind of find that they can't price a refurb right, or they don't know the kind of pitfalls and ins and outs and the stuff that you might come across. And I think that's why I was asking about the experience of a deal sourcer, because I always find that if someone sends you it through, you're going to do your own due diligence of the property, and you're going to find that, well, no, that's actually not, you've missed out that and that, and actually your end values aren't that, it's actually this. And do you know what I mean? They're kind of coming off a theory based course where they think they know what they're doing, but you and I both know it does come with a lot of experience and pitfalls that you kind of recognise things.
As we always say, do your own due diligence, and all it takes is probably about 5 minutes to really check the end value, that the end value is what they're saying.
Yeah, I mean, the end value is not the hardest one to figure out. I probably think it's more of the refurb cost.
The refurb cost.
If someone's not had experience doing their own deals and their own developments and their own kind of refurbs, then they're going to go in there and miss out on a few things. And I don't have much faith in the home reports in Scotland as well. Like I don't really use them.
I think that's an important point that you're touching on. A lot of people don't even know what home reports are that invest from out with Scotland. And I do get a lot of clients coming from overseas, and they aren't even aware that we've got the home report. The home report is brilliant. I think it's great because you're getting a surveyor out. I mean, you're getting another set of eyes over the property, and they're picking up on any damp issues. And obviously, what I would say about the home report is take the value with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
Especially if you're an investor, because obviously sometimes you can see home reports that are overinflated, and that's probably the reason why they've not sold in the first place. Because
I mean, I've got a different view at the home report. I think it's a license to print money for these surveyors. Like I really do. They cover their arse on every single aspect of it. Let's look at the roof.
Right.
You know, we can't see. We've looked at it from binoculars. It was a clear day. We couldn't see this. Or what's the state of the electrics? Or we couldn't see under the floorboards. Or what was the state of the subfloors? Or we didn't lift carpets. What was the state of the drainage? We assume that's all right. They cover their arse on every single point. So do not take. Yes, look at it as a reference, but the other thing as well is if the property's sat empty for 6 months and there's a little bit of damp in it, you know, it just needs a heating on and the window's open, but they'll put in a 2 for a damp. It might scare people off. If there's a couple of slates slipped, they might put a 2 or a 3. It's only a couple £100 fix. So really, do your own due diligence on the property. Don't take a sort of a home report. Yes, a nice little guideline, but like you say, I wouldn't pay attention to the property condition.
Yeah,
and I think you'd raised it right on the head as well about the valuation.
The market valuation. So this is where the deal sourcer will come to you and say this is a 25% below market value, and the market value figure is the home report figure, which we all know that, you know, if it's been sitting on the market for 2 months and it's got a home report of say 100,000, you know, and it's not sold for 100,000, then we know that's not worth it. Yeah. That's not the market value. And the old phrase and the old saying goes, the property is only worth what somebody is prepared to pay for it. That's one of the other ones we like to use a lot.
yeah, 100% right.
Okay, so we've pretty much...
So we've covered a fair few there, haven't we? We've covered solicitors, accountants, deal sourcers, and builders. The other kind of ones I think that's worth bearing in mind, I like my letting agent. I mean, I know we're completely opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to investors. I cannot stand dealing with tenants. It's not my strength. I like to outsource that. So for me, having a good management agent that can take care of it, and you really don't know how good a management agent is until problems arise. I think they can take their 10%, 12% fee, whatever they take, and month on month, people sometimes think, oh, but they're taking money for nothing, or but do you want that phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning when they've locked themselves out or there's a leak? Like, I don't want that.
So what
hassle.
makes a good letting agent then? Tell me. Just a couple of things.
I think you'd really only be able to test a letting agent when things go wrong, when there's an issue, there's tenant arrears, there's damage to the property, there's something went wrong. I mean, you'll be able to probably put a different perspective on it, but for me, if everything's going sweet and you're taking your management and there's no issue with the tenant, you've got the right kind of condition property and the right tenant, management should be relatively easy. It's only when you get a problem property or a problem tenant, I think, that's when a letting agent will really come into their own, and they'll provide huge value. They'll take care of that solution, because I mean that could run into thousands and thousands of pounds off damage or arrears, or if you can't evict them, or you've not went through the right process, or something's tragically happens in the property and you're not compliant because your letting agent isn't up to scratch. So it's key for me to have that. Just
for clarity, like, I am a letting agent, obviously, but you know, I part of my thing was that I just felt when I went into letting agency, I thought, you know, there is a lot of people out there that are taking a 10% fee and doing bugger all. And I think your letting agent should be providing you some value. You know, whether that, you know, I hear some shocking horror stories from people who are using letting agents. They're getting charged 10% management fee. They're getting an email to say that the tenant's reported an issue, and then the landlord's expected to do something about it. Now, is that not what you're paying your 10% for? Surely your letting agent should be coming up with a solution, at least saying, this is what we can do. We can get a quote in for you, and then we can take it forward from there, and then managing that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think I've been through the kind of good, the bad, and ugly with letting agents over the years as well, and some of them you'll kind of give free rein to. They'll put markups on their maintenance that they'll get done, and you're thinking, I could have done that for a fraction of the price. But I've got really good relationships with the letting agents I use now. The one I use in Fife,
You've
trust.
built up trust. That's a huge thing.
It's one of my good investor friends that takes care of my stuff in Fife, and the guy I've got in Aberdeen's phenomenal, doing a great job. Obviously, that's so much more important to me, the stuff in Aberdeen, because I'm 2 hours away. So it's not like I could deal with an issue quickly, and I need to have him. I need to trust him that he can do a great job, and he is.
That's interesting what you say about he's an investor as well. Did you say?
Yes.
Right. So I think when we're talking about these different professionals that we like to work with as property investors, I think that is a benefit as well. So if you've got an accountant who is a property investor, they're obviously going to know quite a lot about the subject and about the ins and outs of it. Yeah,
I completely agree. Your mortgage broker, solicitor, I think it's quite a good factor if they're an investor or a developer themselves, because they understand, like you say,
understands where you're coming from, what you want to do. I did have an accountant one time, and I was explaining to him about all this stuff about, now I'm wanting to invest in a limited company, and I just felt like he was looking at me like that.
What's
two
heads.
This guy talking about? I felt actually that I knew more about the subject than he did.
So, Nick, I think we've covered a lot of this stuff on the Power Team. We've covered quite a few of the important ones. Hope we've given a bit of value on this. How's the Facebook group going?
So our Facebook group is growing. We're getting more and more engagement, and I would encourage you to go along there and join, and we'll add you as a member. It's really what to try and build this community so that we can help each other, and try and get some comments and some questions from yourself as the listeners as well. So Craig Ingalls, a shout out to Craig, he came on and asked a question which got really good engagement from the group, and we've got a lot of really experienced investors on there as well. So he asked a question about investing in property through a SAS pension. So it's something that I don't know a huge amount about. I actually don't even have a pension myself. I rely on my property as my end goal sort of pension, if you like. But it got some good comments and it got some good engagement, and it's a topic that we're going to try and cover in future episodes on the podcast. So we're going to be looking for an expert to get on, and we'll try and cover that subject in detail. Yeah, it was good. I've met with Craig a couple of times before. He did a great engagement in the group, and we had quite a few members that were commenting, had quite a lot of experience in it. So that's very good. We put 3 questions against when you request to join the group, and it's basically just to grab an interest on basically who everyone that's wanting to join the group, and I think we've asked like what their experiences in property and what they're looking at to get out of the group, and what any future topics they'd like covering the podcast. So
we're not being dickheads by
Yeah.
declining people that are not answering the questions. We just feel like we don't want this group filled with 3,000 people that aren't engaging in the group. We want quality people. Like, that doesn't have to be experienced, but as long as you're willing to engage in the group, ask questions, reply back with knowledge. So
we're wanting newbies to join as well. Newbies, not newbies. People who are new to property investing. We don't care if you've got like 100 or if you've got none.
Yeah,
you know,
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter to us. We want to help people as much as possible, and you know, we want people to just come in, and we don't want any kind of sales. That's probably the reason for the questions as well. We're not going to share your data or your answers with anybody.
And it gives us good ideas for the future podcast. But what we thought about it was, if you're taking that 30 seconds to answer the questions, then there's a high chance you're going to commit and you're going to engage in the group. But if you can't be asked answering the questions, then we can't be asked.
If you're too lazy to answer 3 questions, and we kind of like don't really want people who are just on there for a nosy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
and you called me out and got me to do a live on the group, so I done a live on a recent reefer project.
You did a great job, mate. I was proud of you.
I played nonsense for half an hour. I couldn't believe it. So that was a comfort zone stretcher.
But nothing stopping you now.
Yeah, I would encourage you guys. I mean, there's a lot of experienced investors on this group. I would encourage you to do it. It's quite nice. I'm sure people will benefit from you sharing your experience on a project you're working on. You know, don't make it all sunny and roses. Show people the pitfalls and the lows as well. Be really good.
Absolutely. So really appreciate you guys listening to our podcast. As always, spread the word and try and get many people into it as possible. Subscribe, comment, and give us a review as well. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, what the hell is that Ed Sheeran playing in the background? It's because we're sat right next to a Bose speaker in the Dakota Hotel. So
brilliant. Please share it on social media. The podcast would like to reach more people that want to get involved in property, or even people that are already experienced in property and want to take it to the next level.
We'll see you again next Friday with another podcast. Bye for now.
Thank you.